It's the fourth day since I was hospitalized after a car accident. My daughter, Samantha, visits me almost every day after school. Hey, Samantha, did you tell your dad about me?
Yeah. I told him. Hasn't he come to see you yet?
Even though his wife is in the hospital, my husband, Robert, hasn't visited me even once. I felt a little sad about his indifference. 2 days later, when Samantha was visiting me since it was a school holiday.
Poor thing! I heard you were in an accident.
Suddenly, my best friend, Kayla, walked into the room. But I hadn't told Kayla about the accident. How did she know?
Oh, you came together.
Robert peeked out from behind Kayla.
I need to talk to you.
Without even expressing concern for me, Robert continued his own story.
I'm going to marry Kayla. So please, divorce me.
His bold voice echoed through the hospital room.
What? What did you say? I said, I love Kayla. We're getting married, so you need to leave with Samantha.
I thought I misheard him and asked again, but I couldn't understand it at all because it was so sudden.
Kayla, what's going on?
It's just what it sounds like. I love Robert. Could you give him up for me? Kayla's expression was serious. Can such a selfish request be possible? Then, ignoring the two hot-headed visitors, Samantha burst out laughing.
What? You two can't get married. I mean...
What Samantha started to say was unexpected. I, Jessica, enjoy watching complex romance dramas in between work and housework.
Wow, no way. It ends here?
Every time I'm surprised by the plot twists and end up talking to myself while watching alone. I live with my husband and our only daughter, and we get along well with my father-in-law Daniel and mother-in-law Stella, who live nearby. My relationship with my mother-in-law is especially good. We lead a simple life, far from the drama I always watch. Life can be so monotonous that sometimes I wish I could step into the world of drama. Robert is very cheerful and more into sports than studies, being the life of the party. He's social and loves lively gatherings, always surrounded by people when he was younger. From my perspective, who was quieter and more studious, he seemed like a shining star, and I was attracted to him. However, I've come to realize that changing someone's old habits isn't easy. What was charming when we were young can become problematic now that we're in our 40s. The personality traits I once found wonderful have become sources of worry as we've aged. The recent source of my worries is the relationship between Robert and Samantha. Samantha prefers quiet time to socializing with friends. She doesn't dress flashy, and even now in high school, she excels academically, always ranking at the top. Robert, who hated studying, doesn't seem to understand Samantha's diligent studying. Not only he can't keep his thoughts to himself, but he also can't help imposing them on her.
You're always cooped up in your room studying when women don't need to study to survive. If you have time to waste on studying, why not learn to be more charming?
He says things like this loudly while Samantha is concentrating on her studies.
Dad, not many people think like that nowadays. Without studying, you can't do the job you want. Whether I study or not is my choice, so let me do what I want.
Despite Samantha's retorts, Robert would always comment whenever he saw her studying.
Hey, Robert, can you stop interrupting Samantha while she's studying? Isn't it great that she's doing well? I made friends and got a job without studying. Playing with friends is more fun, and you'll never regret it.
Robert, reminiscing about his fun past, wouldn't listen. Samantha started to get fed up with Robert's frequent interruptions.
Mom, how long will Dad keep saying stuff like that? I can't concentrate on my studies.
I'm sorry, I've told him not to bother you while you're studying. No matter how many times I say studying is important, he doesn't listen. As a result, Robert and Samantha clashed often, and I had to mediate each time. Robert didn't just impose his views on Samantha directly. Listen to this. Samantha is planning to go to college. A girl who doesn't need to study. Even in front of his parents, Robert stuck to his belief that charm was everything for a girl and continued to complain about Samantha.
Stop saying because she's a girl. Nowadays, it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. Instead of criticizing others, why don't you go back to studying yourself?
My in-laws couldn't stand seeing their beloved granddaughter being dismissed and reprimanded Robert. When even his own parents scolded him, Robert would sulk.
What the heck, everyone's against me.
On days when his parents criticized him, his complaints would worsen, and he would stop talking to Samantha and me for a while. One day, after coming back from shopping, "Hey, are you Jessica? It's been so long. Do you remember me?"
Wow, is that you, Kayla? Do you live around here now?
The person who called out to me was my best friend, Kayla, who had moved far away after middle school. Kayla was knowledgeable about makeup and fashion, always glamorous, and secretly someone I admired. Although we were opposites in appearance and personality, with me being more academic, we often hung out together. In exchange for teaching me about fashion, I would help Kayla, who struggled with her studies, by pointing out what would be on tests. We kept in touch by letter for a while after she moved, but as we got busier with our own friends, the letters became less frequent. We had grown distant, so it really was a long-awaited reunion.
Yeah, I got married and had a child over there, but a lot happened, so now I'm back here.
Sounds like you've been through a lot.
Yeah. My husband cheated on me. Oh, by the way, can I come over to your place sometime? I really want to catch up.
Of course. Come over. I'd love to talk. And so, Kayla and I reconnected, and our families started to interact. Robert, with his sociable nature similar to Kayla's, quickly bonded with her. Every time Kayla visited, they would talk animatedly, getting along as if they had always been friends. Kayla's daughter, who was about Samantha's age, seemed to care about fashion just like her mother. Kayla and her daughter would visit together, and though Samantha tried to be considerate and engage with them, they didn't get along well.
She told me it's unbelievable that I'm not into fashion or romance. And she said my look and clothes are plain. I feel like she's mocking me even though she's a bit younger than me.
Samantha, frustrated, would tell me in a low voice after Kayla and her daughter left.
Everyone is different, so it's okay to be yourself.
Don't worry, Samantha, you're fine just the way you are. I tried to console her, but Kayla's daughter continued to pester Samantha every time they met. As the interactions with Kayla continued, Robert and Kayla grew closer. Kayla's daughter was very attached to Robert, and he was delighted by this.
Kayla's house has a broken light. I'll go check it out on my next day off. It must be tough for her to manage alone. We should help whenever we can.
Robert often went to help at Kayla's house, claiming it was hard for a single mother. Kayla showed no hesitation in accepting his help.
Robert is so capable and quick at everything. I'm going to keep asking for your help.
Kayla would openly praise Robert in front of me. Robert, enjoying the flattery, didn't seem to mind. As a result, Robert started mentioning Kayla's name more often and became increasingly engrossed in her. Kayla used to come over frequently, but her visits became less frequent. Instead, Robert started spending more time out of the house.
Dad, aren't you going to Kayla's place too often? Does she need that much help? I'm sure she can manage some things on her own.
A single mother has a lot on her plate.
If I don't help her, who will?
Robert was so focused on Kayla's household that he started neglecting his own family. Both Samantha and I were growing increasingly frustrated. I tried to bring up our concerns to Robert subtly, but he didn't seem to change his behavior. When he went to Kayla's place 3 days in a row, Samantha and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I wish you'd pay more attention to our family. Kayla is just a friend, after all.
Dad, I don't understand your thinking.
Robert sighed and said,
I wish Kayla and her kids were my real family instead of you two.
I never expected to hear such words from him. I was too shocked to respond. My love for Robert gradually faded away. After this incident, our home became very cold. Conversations between us were minimal, only the necessary ones. Robert and Samantha seemed even more distant than before. It couldn't be helped. As long as we could live without any major issues, that would be fine. I thought this as I went out for groceries. On my way back home, while riding my bike, I suddenly felt a huge impact and heard the screech of brakes. When I came to, I was lying on the ground. There was a commotion around me. I slowly opened my eyes, but it took a while to grasp the situation. My bike had been thrown far away, and my groceries were scattered all over. Oh, I must have had an accident. That thought came before the pain surged through my body. I heard the sirens of an ambulance in the distance. I endured the pain, waiting for the ambulance to arrive. During the ride to the hospital, the pain made me drift in and out of consciousness. By the time I was in my hospital room after treatment, Samantha had rushed over.
Mom, are you okay?
Yes, Samantha, I'm sorry for worrying you. They said I'll need to stay here for a while. I had fractured my right leg in the accident.
I'm just glad you're alive. I was so worried. I hope you heal quickly.
I felt sorry for causing Samantha such concern. I didn't remember much about the accident itself, but I was thankful to be alive. I focused on getting better. My hospital stay began. On the 4th day, Samantha visited me almost every day after school. However, Robert hadn't come to see me once. I figured he knew about the accident and my hospitalization. Maybe Samantha didn't want to talk to him and hadn't told him?
Hey, Samantha, did you tell Dad about my accident?
Yeah. I told him. Hasn't he come to visit you?
No, not once. But as long as you told him, that's okay.
The hospital must have contacted him too. He should at least visit you. Even if we only spoke minimally at home, I was still his wife, and he should visit me in the hospital. I felt a bit sad about Robert's indifference. 2 days later, on a school holiday, Samantha was visiting me again.
Jessica! Poor thing! I heard you had an accident.
To my surprise, Kayla walked into the room, even though I hadn't told her. I wondered how she knew, then saw Robert behind her. He finally came to visit, but with Kayla? I figured he was using my hospitalization as an excuse to spend more time with her. I didn't expect much concern from him, but I was shocked he brought Kayla. Oh, Kayla. You came together. Then Robert, who had been silent, spoke. Jessica, we need to talk. Without any concern for me, he continued.
I'm going to marry Kayla. So, I want a divorce.
Samantha and I looked at each other, confused.
What? What did you say?
I thought I misheard and asked him to repeat.
I love Kayla. We're getting married. You need to leave with Samantha.
I couldn't comprehend what he was saying. It felt like a scene from a soap opera. I thought there was no point in talking to an excited Robert, so I decided to ask Kayla instead.
Kayla, what's going on?
It's exactly what it sounds like.
I love Robert. I need him. You two aren't close anymore, right? So why not let me have him?
Kayla's expression was serious.
That's incredibly selfish. A true friend wouldn't do this. You're the only one who thought you guys were friends. What do you mean? Right, Kayla?
After Robert called her name, Kayla began to speak.
Jessica, you've always been plain. You weren't on my level, but you were smart. It was convenient to hang out with you. Your help with tests back then was invaluable.
Kayla only saw me as a useful tool. I was the only one who considered her a friend. Feeling superior, Kayla continued.
Robert and I get along well, and he seems happier with me. I think I'm better for him.
Kayla whispered in my ear.
And he makes good money.
Kayla knew about Robert's salary and pretended to be in distress to start an affair. She planned to drive Samantha and me out and become Robert's wife. Robert fell for her manipulation and genuinely believed he loved her. With me in the hospital, they thought it was the perfect time to push for a divorce. I was almost resigned to their foolish actions. It felt surreal, like a drama unfolding in my life. Robert and Kayla, looking victorious, waited for me to give up. I was struggling with my thoughts when Samantha, who had been silent, started laughing.
You two can't get married. Dad, don't know.
Samantha's unexpected words surprised us.
Kayla is going through a divorce because she cheated. She's being sued for a large settlement.
When I met Kayla again, she had lied about her husband cheating. In truth, Kayla's infidelity led to her separation and divorce proceedings. During the proceedings, she searched for her next financial support and found Robert. Kayla intended to secure Robert's commitment before finalizing her divorce and remarry 6 months later. She also planned to use Robert's money to pay her settlement and manage their finances.
That's not true. I really love Robert.
Kayla raised her voice. Despite this, Samantha remained calm.
Kayla's daughter told me everything. She even mocked me, saying that Mom and I would be thrown out.
Samantha had suspected the relationship between Robert and Kayla. She had used Kayla's daughter to gather information, anticipating this outcome. Kayla's daughter, looking down on Samantha, had revealed family details to feel superior. Thanks to this, Samantha learned of Kayla's plans and kept the information as a trump card. Samantha's ability to calmly assess situations and gather information was impressive, likely due to my teaching. Discussing divorce and court dramas with Samantha had paid off. Even in high school, her insight and initiative amazed me. Kayla, realizing her plan was exposed, frantically called her daughter.
What did you tell them? You ruined my plan. I've lost everything. I found such a perfect cash cow.
Kayla started arguing with her daughter over the phone. Listening nearby, Robert finally understood he had been seduced for his money.
What?
He was speechless at the sudden turn of events. Kayla had targeted Robert, believing he was wealthy because he was a CEO. In reality, Robert worked at his in-laws' company, but he had pretended to be the CEO to impress Kayla. Robert's usual sociable and boastful nature had backfired, and I couldn't help but laugh in disbelief. Knowing all of Kayla's plans and schemes, Robert was panicking.
I'm sorry, Jessica. I'll take back what I said earlier. What did you say earlier?
Samantha calmly asked, making Robert stammer.
I didn't mean it about the divorce. I just said it in the heat of the moment.
Robert, looking defeated, glanced at me, waiting for my response.
Jessica, can you hear me? Yes, I hear you clearly.
Even if he had been deceived, I couldn't forgive him for cheating with Kayla. If Robert had been rational, this wouldn't have happened. neither Samantha nor I could forgive Robert. Seeing our silence, Robert said,
"But you two can't survive without my income, right?
"Divorce would be tough for you." His moment of remorse quickly turned into a threat about our financial stability. Robert underestimated us, thinking we couldn't manage without him.
We can live just fine without you. We'll divorce as you said. And I'll be sure to inform Daniel and Stella about all of this." "No, don't tell them. Please, I'm begging you, don't. Whether you like it or not, what happened cannot be undone."
I had him leave for now, and I sighed deeply in my hospital room. I wondered what a drama protagonist would do in this situation. But in my heart, I already knew the answer. First, I needed to heal my leg quickly. A few days after that chaotic event, I was able to leave the hospital. Thanks to the rehabilitation, I got better at using crutches. Even at home, I moved around with crutches, managing my daily life slowly but surely. Even after I was discharged, Robert kept pleading for me to reconsider the divorce. But I remained silent, and Samantha confronted him every time she saw him. Robert seemed to feel increasingly uncomfortable at home and started staying in a hotel. A few days later, upon hearing of my discharge, my in-laws came to visit.
"Jessica, you've been through a lot. Are you okay? I brought some frozen meals to help out,"
Stella said, bringing over some home-cooked frozen meals and showing concern for my health.
"By the way, Robert took off work yesterday. Is the feeling unwell?" "Actually, Robert is staying in a hotel right now. The truth is,"
I explained to my in-laws about how Robert and Kayla met and the whole affair.
"And that's how it happened. He cheated with my friend, and then they came to the hospital asking for a divorce. They even said they'd move into this house and that Samantha and I should leave." "Is that true? What is he thinking?" "There's more."
I told them about Kayla being in the middle of a divorce and having debts, and how she planned to marry Robert for his money to pay off her settlement.
"Robert pretending to be the CEO was a big mistake." "Did he really say that? What a fool." "But abandoning Jessica and Samantha is unforgivable. We need to talk to Robert, Daniel." "Yes, we need to have a serious talk with him."
So later, we called Robert to his parents' house for a discussion with me and my in-laws.
"So you cheated, huh?"
Robert looked uncomfortable and remained silent.
"Not only did you cheat, but you also tried to kick Jessica and Samantha out. What were you thinking? Abandoning your wife and child is unacceptable."
Robert finally spoke.
"It's not like that. I was tricked by Kayla."
Robert played the victim, claiming Kayla manipulated him into asking for a divorce.
"If I had known she was after my money, I wouldn't have done it. It's Jessica's fault for reconnecting with her."
Refusing to admit his faults, Robert blamed me. Seeing this, Daniel's expression darkened.
"What? Are you saying it's not your fault? You still cheated. And you lied about being the CEO. I was considering you to take over the company, but now I can't trust you. You're fired."
Daniel's anger at Robert's lack of remorse led him to disown Robert.
"Robert, I'm so disappointed in you."
Stella, on the other hand, was appalled by Robert's actions and his lack of repentance.
"I'm sorry." "No, I won't change my mind. The one you should be apologizing to is Jessica, not me." "Jessica, I'm truly sorry. Please, let's start over."
Seeing him disowned by his parents, I almost felt sorry for him. If I abandoned him too, he would be all alone. My heart wavered a bit. As I hesitated to respond, Stella spoke to me.
Jessica, don't worry about Robert. You do what you feel is right. We're on your side, you and Samantha.
Stella's words solidified my resolve.
Let's get a divorce. I don't think we can go back to the way things were.
Please, reconsider.
No, my mind is made up. I'll make sure to get both alimony and child support.
Why did it have to come to this? And so, we decided to get a divorce. A few days later, Kayla called me.
Hey! My husband found out everything. Now I have to pay even more money. This is unbelievable.
Kayla, still in the midst of her divorce, had her settlement increased because of her affair with Robert. The scandal of Kayla and Robert spread quickly in our small town, and Kayla found it hard to stay. She soon moved to a nearby town but struggled to make a living on her own. Having relied on her husband and affair partners, she couldn't manage on her income alone. Meanwhile, Robert started a new life alone and found a job in another town. He had often taken liberties and cut corners because of our family business, but now he couldn't get away with that. At his new job, he kept failing and struggled with both work and personal life. Robert struggled both at work and in his personal life, and the stress led him to become interested in gambling and horse racing. His obsession with it was extreme. Despite needing to pay alimony and child support, he borrowed money to fuel his gambling habits. A while after the divorce, Robert called me.
Sorry, I might not be able to make the payment this month. I'm short on money.
He sounded weak, and while I felt sorry for him, I couldn't help. I struggled to find the right words to say. I heard he had also called my in-laws recently.
Dad, could you lend me some money? Just a little, I'm really in trouble.
Unable to manage his mounting debts, Robert asked me and my in-laws for help. But both they and I refused, leaving Robert desperate. I hoped he could break free from gambling and slowly start repaying his debts. While keeping my distance, I occasionally heard about Robert from rumors. Samantha and I remained close with my in-laws even after the divorce. They might have felt guilty about Robert's failings, but their kindness was a great comfort to me. Samantha continued to excel in her studies and got accepted into her dream university. Thanks to my income and support from my in-laws, she enjoyed a fulfilling college life. Surrounded by our support and encouragement, Samantha seemed well on her way to becoming a researcher, her dream career.